Hello, YouTubers, and welcome to Andrew's Corner. Today, I begin a new series on my channel called Psychology in the Movies. This is where I take scenes or ideas from a movie or movie series and highlight the psychological themes and ideas behind them. And I decided to look at a film series very well known to others, and that's Harry Potter. The Harry Potter films are very well known to the public. With its detailed story, relatable characters, and unbelievable creativity, many children and adults have enjoyed the story of the boy wizard coming into his own to take down a dark wizard. What astounded me about the Harry Potter books and movies were how strong the lessons were. Like, the Mirror of Erised represents how our desires can cloud our attention in the present, or how the Horcruxes of Voldemort represent the gradual decomposition of one's morality and humanity. But today, I wanted to focus on two particular things from the Harry Potter series: the boggarts and the dementors. Both share their similarities, but they do have their own distinctions in psychological management, which, as a psychotherapist myself, I thought was very fascinating. Let's take a look at the boggarts first. The boggarts are shapeshifters in the wizarding world, and nobody knows what their true form looks like. But they often change into the object or creature that their victims fear the most. They're kind of like Pennywise from It. If someone was afraid of spiders, like Ron Weasley, it would turn into a giant spider. I'm not sure if they actually hurt their victims or simply just scare them, but our little knowledge of them makes them all the more terrifying. Anyone who suffers from phobias will tell you the uncertainty of anything is what adds to the scare factor. These creatures represent our insecurities and our emotional wounds that we've dealt with in life. We find out later in the books that Ron developed his fear of spiders when he was younger, explaining where he got his phobia from. Phobias are irrational fears or aversions to something, and they usually sprout from traumatic events in our lives. And this corresponds with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, a mental health disorder triggered by traumatic events in our lives, making one often feel on edge or experience flashbacks or have distrust in other people. In a wonderful scene in the third movie, Professor Lupin explains the best way to fight off a boggart is with laughter. He demonstrates this by empowering Longbottom to share his fear with the class and face it by imagining it as something funny with the spell ridiculous. Being Professor Snape in women's clothes, of course. This has ties to how psychotherapists have treated clients with PTSD through cognitive behavioral therapy, an approach focused on reframing inaccurate thoughts. More specifically, with a technique known as Imagery Rescripting. This technique forces one to think back to an event they've experienced and try to perceive it differently, or rewrite it in their own words. Not only does this help one face their fears, but it empowers them to take control of their fear by changing their fear into something less scary. All of this requires imagination and concentration of the individual, tying back into how we as people give power to our fears, but we are also able to take it back, perceive them as less scary. Now, dementors are a little different. These are dark creatures that feed off of people's positive feelings and memories, until they're left with negative emotions and thoughts. They bother the main character, Harry Potter, because he's experienced the trauma of his parents dying, and without his positive memories keeping them balanced, his memories of his parents dying overwhelm him to the point where he collapses. Naturally, this ties to major depressive disorder, where a person feels great sadness, fatigue, little motivation to do anything, and hopelessness. Anyone who's experienced depression knows how debilitating it can be. Author J.K. Rowling said that she got the inspiration for creating the Dementors when she went through depression and contemplated suicide herself. Harry Potter's negative thoughts are so overwhelming that when he faces the boggart in class, it turns into a Dementor, indicating that he fears depression. He fears suffering from the debilitating depression the creatures cause him. Desperate for help, he learns how to confront them from Professor Lupin. He tells Harry that the way to ward off a Dementor is with the Patronus charm, where he casts a protective barrier of positive energy that the dementor can feed on instead of him. In order to conjure this, however, one has to think of a powerful positive memory. This is connected to the mindfulness technique known as guided imagery, where one focuses on visualizing a particular object that relaxes or inspires them. This is unique to each user, as they have different ideas of something happy or relaxing. For instance, Harry thinks about a memory where he's talking to his parents. He's not sure if this is real or not, but it fills him with such joy. And with this memory, he's able to conjure a Patronus, a feat known to be very difficult for a student his age. This technique also has ties with empowerment and strengths approaches, where a person's autonomy and individual abilities are brought into consideration. Harry uses his memory as a strength to ward off dementors, knowing that he doesn't have to give in to their draining power. So, as you can see, both of these creatures have similarities with each other, given how both challenge the characters emotionally, and the techniques to stop them require positive mindsets. Now, both ideas have their challenges and can be debilitating for many, but hopefully people reading or watching the series can be inspired like the characters to face their fears and reflect on their strengths and positive memories for support. I've actually had a young client share about nightmares she had, and I helped her through it by looking to her love of Harry Potter. Hopefully it's helped others like her to face her fears or to manage their depression. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe, leave a like, and be on the lookout for more videos like this. Have a great week, everyone.